indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has decided to release a press release. And this is to address the British High Commissioner to Nigeria about the indivisibility of Nigeria. Should know the movement, the secessionist group, have been clamoring to break away from that contraption called Nigeria. And for anyone that is interested and likes the way Nigeria is and does not want Nigeria to break apart, then we will realize that there's something wrong with the person. As you can see, there's things are not working properly if they have decided not to grant a referendum, peaceful vote, to see the agitation of people and see if people want to stay in that country and even retain that name Nigeria that I find offensive. Well, then if they're not going to do that, then people will have to clamor to break away as it is. So this is the press release and I'm going to go through it. Say, we, the indigenous people of Biafra IPOB worldwide, led by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, wish to state that the substance of this press statement is traceable to the diplomatic blunder committed by no less a person, although he's no longer the serving British Commissioner to Nigeria, Mr. Paul Hack-Wright, recently in Kogi State of Nigeria, where he was reported to have delivered a public lecture on the topic Brexit, lessons, challenges, and opportunities for Nigeria at the Federal University, Lokoja, on Thursday, 6th April 2017. He was asked about the position of Britain on Brexit, on the issues that is ongoing in Nigeria, the independence from Nigeria. Asked about the position of Britain on the groups pushing for independence from Nigeria, the envoy said the United Kingdom remained firm in support for one Nigeria, while they are in support of breaking out from the EU. We have therefore taken time to painstakingly analyze this statement credited to the British envoy, and we find it very unfortunate and distasteful that a seasoned diplomat of Mr. Hack-Wright's standing could have displayed such ignorance of international law and protocol. From our very careful observation, we are of the view that two factors could have been responsible for Mr. Hack-Wright's uncharacteristic diplomatic blunder. The first that immediately comes to mind is ignorance, and the second, which is equally unfortunate, even more so than the first, is mischief. Riding on these assumptions, we shall now take the liberty of this press statement to address these two possible inadequacies which His Excellency might be suffering from, and to clear every doubt his stance may have engendered in the minds of largely undiscerning and docile populace. Presumed ignorance. We want to presume that the statement of Mr. Hack-Wright may have been influenced by the opening phrase in the General Abdulsalami Abubakar Nigerian 1999 Constitution, which reads as follows: "We, the people of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, having firmly and solemnly resolved to live in unity and harmony as one indivisible and indissoluble sovereign nation under God. We make haste, therefore, to inform Mr. Hack-Wright that even the most poorly lettered man on the streets of Lokoja, venue of Mr. Hack-Wright public lectures, agree that the amended General Abdulsalami Abubakar 1999 Constitution lied about itself, and that the first lie in the Constitution is the wasteful phrase, 'we the people.' It is the duty of IPOB to clear the illusions this deceptive phrase might have planted in the pliable mind of Mr. Hack-Wright and others like him. No doubt, the above phrase seeks to convey the misleading impression that ordinary people of Nigeria willingly, in a conference, meeting, or assembly convened by General Abdulsalami Abubakar somewhere in Abuja in 1999, agreed to vest immutable, non-negotiable sovereignty on the Nigerian nation through the instrumentality of the said 1999 Constitution. This is a blatant lie, deception and fraud concocted by self-serving individuals in Nigeria to deceive themselves and those not enlightened enough to know what is being done in their name. Not minding the obvious limitations and inherent defects of General Abdusalami Abubakar 1999 Constitution, by virtue of the lie with the people preamble, we recognize the centrality of sovereignty in the field of international law. However, as rigid and important as this concept may be to the proponents of one Nigeria, it still admits and recognizes some notable exceptions. It is therefore not immutable and cannot, as a result, be construed in absolute terms. In other words, sovereignty of states under international law is not cast in iron and can be broken or dissolved. The point IP0B is making here is to the effect that in the exercise of the sovereign powers bestowed on it, an artificial creation like the Nigerian state, or indeed any other country, can limit its own sovereignty or surrender a part of the same. The truth, as it stands today, is that the Nigerian state has, out of its own volition, already surrendered Nigerian sovereignty over Bakassi Peninsula, which therefore enables any part of Nigeria or section thereof to secede when they so decide. So, contrary to the wishes and ambitions of the neo-colonialist like Mr. Arkwright, this is equally true and remains same for even Great Britain, whom Mr. Arkwright represents in Nigeria. So now I think they have a new person that is representing this, but IP0B decided to look into this and not leave any stone unturned. He said, we will use English judicial authorities to convey the message home to the British envoy before we turn to the Nigerian judicial authorities. In the case of Blackburn versus Attorney General Court of Appeal, Civil Division, 1971, where Mr. Blackburn was concerned about the application of Her Majesty government to join the European Common Market by seeking to sign up to the Treaty of Rome, we brought two actions against Her Majesty's government, Edward Heath, through the then Attorney General, in which we sought declarations to the effect that by signing the Treaty of Rome, Our Majesty government will surrender in part the sovereignty of the Crown in Parliament British people. That's the British people forever. It canvassed the view that in so doing, the government will be acting in breach of the law. Mr. Blackburn pointed out that many regulations made by the European Economic Community will become automatically binding on the people of Great Britain, and that all the courts of Great Britain, including the House of the Lords, will have to follow the decisions of the foreign European court in certain defined respect, including the drafting of the treaty itself. To protest this point, Mr. Blackburn made reference to an earlier decision by the Court of Common Market, Costa, 1964, Common Market Law, in February 1964, in which the European Court in its judgment said that the member states, albeit within limited spheres, have restricted their sovereign rights and created a body of law applicable both to their nationals and to themselves. So, in view of this, what is the position with Nigeria state? There is no doubt that the Nigerian head of state, president, has the power to enter into treaties with foreign nations, both bilateral and multilateral, which is binding on the old Nigerian state. Section 12 of the amended General Abdusalami Abubakar 1999 Constitution has laid down the procedure for the domestication of such treaties as a condition precedent to their activation as a law in Nigeria. Therefore, no question regarding the binding nature of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, providing among others for the right to self-determination on the Nigerian state. Equally true is the fact that not only that Nigeria is a signatory to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, the Nigerian Parliament has entrenched the said charter as part of the corpus juris of the country by way of domestication in compliance. So all people shall have the right to existence. They shall have the unquestionable and inalienable right to self-determination. They shall freely determine their political status and shall pursue their economic and social development according to the policy they have freely chosen. So when you look at all of these charters and every of these things, I think there is no reason why Biafra should not come, why the South should not break away from this contraption. This government is not working, things are not in the right direction. So this is signed by Dr. Ekina Chineka away from this contraption. This government is not working, things are not in the right direction. So this is signed by Dr. Ekina Chinaka and Mrs. Grace Ukpai, IP0B spokesperson, and why this issue still exists. Why can't we break apart and grow at our own pace? So guys, that is what it is for now. If you're not a member of this channel, let us grow together by you simply tapping on the subscription button and the red notification icon bell below. It will alert you whenever our videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.